Hello and welcome to Android Jetpack Compose course. I am Jiten Pratap, your instructor in this course. So this course is all about Jetpack Compose. So if you are new to Android development in 2021, or even if you have some basic knowledge in Java or Kotlin, then this is the best course to learn Jetpack Compose. The whole course is made using Kotlin because it's not available in Java yet. So we will start with basics of Compose. We will start with setting up our development environment. Then we will build some basic Compose component like text, button, toast. Then we will learn how to build layouts in Jetpack Compose. After that, we will learn how to use material design in Jetpack Compose. Things like colors, shape, typography are part of material design. So we will learn how to apply all this stuff in our project. So first we need to download the Android Studio. So I will type Jetpack Compose download, and then I will go to the setup on this link, and here we have a link to get the Android Studio Arctic Fox. So I will click on it, and here we have option for download Android Studio for Windows because I am on Windows, but if you are on Mac then you can go to the download options, and here you can select the .dmg file for Mac, or you can select the Windows installer from here, or you can just go back, and if you are on Windows then you can download it from here. And I am not going to download it because I already have on my machine, so I will just start from there. So go ahead and download it and install the Android Studio. So after the successful installation, we need to create a new project. So you can go here and click on it, and here you need to select the empty compose activity and click next. Here you can give it a name. I am going to say it intro Jetpack Compose, and select a package name whatever you want. It's up to you, and pick your location. So I have already set it up already, and here you need to select the minimum SDK. Also it's already selected to API 21. You can go higher if you want, if you like to. So you can go up to 31, but I am going to select the 21 because then it will run on most devices. So you can see the message here. It says it will run on 94% of devices. So as you go up, the devices will go down because many people does not have the latest version of Androids. So I will select this API 21, and we need to click the finish button, and I will let it build the project itself. So our project is ready to code, but first we need to run it and check it whether everything is set up properly. So to run your app you need an emulator. So you can create emulator from here, device manager. So you can click on device manager. As you can see, I already have 3 devices, but if you want to create a new device then you can click here create device, and you can choose a device definition. So you will select phone and then click next, and then here you will be given the option for the Android system image. So you can select Oreo as it's recommended in my, but you can select this one or even a lower one. So it's already started downloading, but I don't need, so I'm going to cancel it. So this one is I think already here in my system, so that's why I don't need to download it. And then here you can click next, and then you can give a name here. So choose whatever whatever the name you want to give it, and select the orientation portrait because it is the best to showcase or see the app. and then you can click finish and your emulator will be ready. So I already have 3 emulators, so I don't need to create another one. So I will just cancel it and I will just hide it. And so this is our boilerplate code for Jetpack Compose app. So let's run it and see if everything is working fine. So I will select emulator from here, which is Nexus 5 Google Play. So I will click here and I will wait for it to run. So it will start the emulator. So I will wait for it, and when the emulator is started, I will come back. So our app is installed in the emulator and is ready to be launched, as it has just launched. So yeah, it's a hello Android. So this means that our app is running fine and we can start building our app and things that we want to do. So the first Gradle file is the top level Gradle file. It defines build configuration that applies to all modules in your project. So by default, the top level build file uses the build script block, which defines the repositories and dependency that are common to all modules in the projects. So right now we don't have much in this top level build file because we don't need one, because we are building very simple apps or components in this course. So right now we only have this compose version 1.0.1, and the second build file is an app level build Gradle file. So it has the plugins script. So here we defined plugins, and here in this section we defined the compile SDK, which is 31, and default configurations, which are we defined already when we are creating the project. So minimum SDK is 21, target SDK is 31. So if you want to change your SDK, you can change it from here as well. And this is where the version code is. So right now it is 1. So if you build an app and publish it on Play Store, and then if you want to update the app, then you will need to change it. You will need to increment it by 1. So yeah, keep remember it, the versioning. And this is for test instrumentation runner. So it is used for testing, so don't worry too much about it. And this is for vector drawables, which is also advanced thing, quite an advanced thing, so we will deal with it later. And here we have build types. So also again, this does not concern us too much because we are not going to release or publish an app on Google Play. So yeah, and this is compile options. So all the code we write, when we build it, it got converted to Java version 1.8. So make sure to have this compile options on your app level build module, which is also called the module level. So always remember this one. This one is project level and this one is module level. And then we need the Kotlin options for JVM target to, so make sure you have 1.8 JVM target. And then this is the most important one for Jetpack Compose. So if you are building an app on Jetpack Compose, then you must set it to true, compose true, otherwise it will not build, it will fail. And you also need the compose options, Kotlin compiler extended version, compose version. So this compose version is taken from here. So whatever you define will be used and reflect here. And then we have the dependencies. So you see all these dependencies, they are using the same compose version. So you need this will always be created by default, but if somehow it's not in these dependencies, then it will create problem and your app will not compile. So make sure to have at least the core dependency and UI dependency and compose material dependencies, because lot of the buttons and text, most of these items come under the material dependency. So if you remove this, then you won't be able to use the material buttons or anything that are related to material, will you will not be able to use it. And this is not necessary, it is just for preview. And you also need the life cycle runtime. So lifecycle runtime performs action in response to the change in the lifecycle status onto the component, such as activities and fragments. So you also need this one, and then you need the implementation for compose activity, and the rest is just for testing. So you don't need these ones unless you want to use testing. And yeah, you also need the last one, debug implementation, for debugging. So we already had a greeting function which is a boilerplate code, so we will have that. And let's create a main function, so where we can put all our functions or component, and then we can call all of the components from there. So to do that, we need to create with that composable, and let's call it function main screen. And we are going to pass a modifier. So a modifier basically allow you to style your components within the layout. So you will see it later when I will use the modifier. For now, I'm just going to declare it here. And after that, we need to call this greeting function here. So I will do that. And let's say Android. So we are doing the same thing basically here. So we will remove this greeting function from here, and we will call it from here. And then we will also call our button function from here. So to do that, now we need to call this main screen from here. So let's see. So this is our onCreate method, which is the entry point for the app. So let's run it and see if it's working as previously. So you can see that it's working as it was before. So let's create our button first. So to create a button function, we need to create a composable function. So I will say here again, at composable function, let's call it button click. And yeah, let's define our button. So this is a function, and inside this function we are going to create a button. So we will pick the first option. So you can see that it already has a on click method. So let's select it, and in on click we can pass whatever we want to do with the on click. So we will just pop up a toast message when we click the button. So let's create our toast. So here inside on click we can say toast dot make text. And if you have worked before toast, or if you know anything about toast, then you know that a toast require a context. So let's quickly create a context for our toast. So we'll say val context, and we will use local context dot current and then we can pass this context here. So context, and the second argument is the message, so we will say hello compose. And yeah, the third argument is the duration, so how long the toast is going to last. So we can say toast dot length long, and after that we need to call the function show. So that was our on click method. Now we need to define the shape of our button. So after the on click function, which ends here, we can say put a comma and we can say shape, and we can pass the shape. So I will say material theme. So that's where the material design dependencies come, which already comes with default by default, so you don't have to insert it by yourself because it already comes when you create the app. So yeah, so we will just use this material theme dot, we will call it shapes, and it's provide 3 shapes. So I am going to select the medium. You can choose whichever one you like, and after this we need a text for our button, so we will say text, and we will just name it tap button. Okay, so our button click function is ready. Now we just need to call this button click in our main screen. So just do it quickly, button click, and we should be good to go. So I'm going to run it again and see what happens. So you can see that the button has taken the entire screen, and that's because we have not provide a way to settle these two things. So that's why it took the entire screen. So that's where the column function come. So the column function basically allow you to put your components in linear layout in vertical orientation. So I will create a column here where we can put this thing, so column, and now is the time to use our modifier. So I will say modifier dot fill max size, and then we can give it some padding. So padding, and we can, there are a couple of options, so we will use the fourth option, and we can say that start. So start, and we can give 24 dp of padding, and then we can say top. So you can give as many parameters as you want. It is not necessary to give 4 parameters. You can just give start or top, or start and top. And now I am going to put these two methods or components inside this column, and I think we will be fine. So let's run it and see. So see, now because we have provided a way to, to let it know how to position our components. So now it's positioning the components correctly. So now I will click the button and let's see it works. So it's working. Hello compose. Recomposition basically means drawing the same component over and over again. So in compose, when you call the composable function again with new data, then this process is called recomposition. So when we call the function again, it redraw that components with the new data, and it only redraw the component that has called the component to be changed. So this is a new and quite smart thing in Jetpack Compose. Before that, whenever state change, the whole activity get redraw, but in Compose only the calling component get redraw. So let's understand it with the component we already created in our previous lecture, the button click. So here I am going to create a function which will remember how many times it has been clicked. So to do that, we need to create a variable where we can save the state of the click. So I will say here, we don't need the context anymore because we are going to change the toast. We will not create a toast anymore. So let's get rid of it quickly. And we need to create a value where we can store the click count. So I will say click count, and here we need a remember function. So remember, and I will say mutable state of, and I will just pass the starting number, so it's going to be 0. So the mutable state of is a function which will give itself the value click count a memory, a mutable memory. So mutables means that it can be changed over time, and then we need the remember function to save that state. Otherwise it won't be able to save the state. So that's why we need the remember function. And in Jetpack Compose, we are going to use the remember function a lot because Jetpack Compose is mostly about saving the state. It mostly works through state management. So we will use a lot of remember function. So let's move on to our button click. So on click, I will say click count dot, and then we need to increase the value every time we click on the button. So I will say click on dot value. Sorry, I made a mistake here. It should be mutable state of, not set of. There are so many mutable, so sometimes you get it wrong. So here we say mutable state of and 0, and then on click we say, let's remove this, click count dot value, and we need to increase it every time we click it, so plus plus. And let's create another text where we can show how many times it has been clicked. So I will say text, and here we can say clicked, and then to access this click count value we need to use the dollar sign. So I will say dollar sign, and then use the curly brace, and we can say click count dot value, and here I can say times, and yeah, we are done. And let's run it and see if it's working or not. So I will hit run. So here is the button, and I'm going to click it. You can see that every time we click, it's increase the number. So now we have some components in our main screen. So let's play around them and see how we can place these components differently in our screen. So first I want to show you how to put all these things in center position. So to do that, we need to go to our main screen, and here we need to apply some more modifiers. So I will put a comma here and say vertical arrangement, and then I will say arrangement dot centers, and then for horizontal alignment I will say horizontal alignment and alignment dot center horizontally, and let's run it and see how it behaves. Now you can see that every component is in center and they are aligned vertically and horizontally, but you can see that there is not much space between them. So you can put space between them by using a spacer. So after this greeting you can say spacer, and then you can pass modifier dot height and give it some space. So wait, it did not get the full modifier dot height, and let's run it again and see if it makes any difference. So now we have a 10 dp of space between the greeting component and the button click function, but these two are not have any space yet. So to create a space between the button and the text, you can come here and do the same thing. So spacer modifier dot height 10 dp, and now they are spaced evenly. So that's for the column. Now I want to separate these two components in different columns, and let's see how it behaves. So I am going to separate these two. So I will create another column. So this column, where did it end? It ends here. So let's create another column. So I will say column, and let's give it a modifier. So modifier dot and here we cannot use fill max size, otherwise it will cover the first column. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the wrap content width, and then I can apply the paddings. So I will say dot padding 24 dp for start. Actually let's make it 48 dp, so it will be better, and then you will understand it better. We also need to provide the start. So start equals 48 dp, and for top we can leave it for 24 dp. So 24 point dp, and what else we need? So yeah, and I'm going to remove this vertical arrangement. So I want to show you how two columns work. So let's remove these two. What happened? Okay, I removed the curly the small brace, so I should not have removed the small brace. And then let's get rid of spacer and put this button click inside this column, and let's see what happens. So now we have another column, and this is just because I have given it where did it go, padding of 48 dp start. So it is starting from 48 dp from this position. So this one is starting from 24 dp and this one is starting from 48 dp. So it's difficult to understand because we don't have any way to see how much space this one taking or how much this component taking, how much space this component taking. So what you can do is you can put a background color so we can differentiate the both of the columns. So here we can put a background color and it did not take it. So it should have taken here dot, yeah. So I have to put the dot and then background, and I can say color equals color dot green, and then for this column we can do the same thing. So let's say dot background color dot red, and now you will be able to see what's happening or how much space they are taking. So you can see the first column, because we have provided the fill max size, it is taking the entire screen, and the second column is not taking entire screen because I have said wrap content. So hopefully that makes sense. So actually I made a mistake when I said that this is start from here. So I paused the video and went back to test this. So the start it does not start from here, it counts from here. So to check that, we can increase this value to see. So we can double check it. So if I say 100 dp, the gap between these two components will increase. So you can see the gap between these two has increased. So sorry for that little mistake. And so yeah, this is that's it for our column. And now we will play a little bit with the row. So the column works in vertical orientation, but the row work in horizontal. So I am going to create a row here, row, and I am not going to put any modifier here right now, just now. So I will just put it, cut it and put here to let you see how it works. And I can quote this column, these two columns, and let's run it. So you will see how row works and how it is different from column. So you can see this is how row works. So if you want your components in horizontal orientation, then you will use a row. Now we can put some modifier here. So modifier, and what should I give it? Modifier dot, actually let's give it a little bit of weight, width not weight, and let's give it 10 dp. So we can create some space between. And it did not create width between this. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. So to create space, we need the spacer. So here I can say spacer and modifier dot width 10 dot dp, and we should remove this one from here. We don't need it here, and I think we should be good. So now we have got some space between the button function and the greeting function, but not here because I guess we need to do it here. So after button, instead of height, we will say width and let it be 10 dp. So yeah, we have got our row. So you can also put some top padding here. So you can say modifier dot padding, and you can put some padding for top, and let's give it 10 dp. And now we have a space on top of our main screen function. So let's put this row into center. So here you can say vertical alignment dot center vertically, and let's see what happens. And it's already aligned vertically, and we don't need horizontal arrangement here because it's a row and it's already oriented in horizontal fashion. So that's it for the row and column. So that's it for the layout, I guess. And you can explore these two components by yourself. You should do it to learn it more. So to create a custom theme, we need to go to this theme file, and here we need to create a function for custom theme. It's going to be a composable function. So let's say add composable function custom theme, and this custom theme accepts another other composables as a content. So let's do that, content, and it wraps the material theme. So material theme, and here we need to set the content to content. And now we need to create some new colors for this new theme. So we need to go to this color files, and here you can already say that these are the default colors that are used currently in the app. So we will create some new colors. So I'm going to create orange color. So well, orange, I will say 500. This is how you create a variant in Android Jetpack Compose. So you name it like 500, 600 to increase the value of a particular color. So to get a color of orange, we are going to use the color.adobe website. So I will just go there. So here we need to go to color.adobe website. It is a very nice website to pick variants of different colors. So let's go and get some orange. So I will go to explore and search for a color of orange. And you get a lot of nice orange colors. So you can see there are a lot of colors, and yeah, I am going to pick, let's Let's pick this one. It looks nice and also suits our need, because this one is lighter, then this one is a little bit dark, then this one is more darker, and so on and so forth. So let's copy this color, and here we need to declare a color. So we will choose the color, and you have to import the androidx.compose.ui.graphics color, and then you just pass this color. So the Jetpack Compose works with ARGB colors. It only takes ARGB colors. So to convert this color into ARGB, you just need to get rid of this hash and pass and write 0 or prefix with 0 x ff, and you get your orange color here. So that's how you convert your color into ARGB color. So the ARGB color is stand for the alpha. So to define alpha for the color, so these two last digit define the alpha for the transparency. So let's create the other variant of orange. So orange, I will say orange 600, and then we are going to do the same thing with color. And here I am going to pick this one, and let's do the same thing again to convert into ARGB. So 0 x ff, let's create another darker orange value for our status bar, so we can use it in our status bar. So I'm going to give it a 900 name color, and I am going with this one because this is quite a lot dark. Paste it. 0 x ff. Now we have our colors. Let's get back to the theme. Now we need to bundle all these colors into one color object. So I will say private, I will say orange colors, and here we need to pass, you can either pass it as a light color or as a dark color. So I will say, what happened? Oh, I forgot to give it a val. So I will say val orange colors, and here I can say light colors, and then we got to define all of these colors inside it. So I will say primary, and I'm going to put it give it the orange 500. Then I will say primary variant, and then I will pass the second orange color. So you can see there are lot of options here. You can pass as many as you want. I am going to only use 2 or 3 of them. So, and then here on primary, so this is for the text color. So here we will pass color dot white, and yeah, this is for our color. Now we need to use this color inside our custom theme. So here we can pass this theme. So let's say colors equals, and we can say orange colors, and put a comma here. Now our theme is ready, but we need to change the status bar color as well, because this only apply inside the app and not on the status bar. So to do that, we need to create color in our resources file. So go to the values folder, and in this color XML file, here we can create another color. So let's say color name, I will say dark orange, and Let's pick this color for our orange, dark orange color, and we just need to pass it here, and we need to remove the 0 and X, because this one just take the regular hexadecimal color and not the ARGB color. Now we also need to go to our theme file and create a new theme for our custom theme. So I will just copy this style and paste it here, and here I will say custom theme, and for status bar color I am going to change it to dark orange. And what else, we also need to change the theme in our manifest file. So here you can go to manifest file, and for application level you can choose here the custom theme, and this is activity level declaration. So we also need to change it here because we only have one activity, the main activity. So I can say custom theme, and yeah, I think that's all you need to do to change the theme. So let's run it and see if we have managed to do it successfully. Oh, we forgot to cast it here, so it will not change, but let's run it anyway. We need to change here our theme. So this is where our theme applies. So I will say custom theme. So as you can see, we are able to change our status bar color, but we are not able to change the button color. So let's see where we miss that, or whatever we miss that. So we need some more parameters in our light colors. So otherwise it will not apply on the button. So for that we need to apply the secondary color as well as. So I will say secondary orange 500, and secondary variant orange 600, and on secondary we will leave it to color dot white, and we should be good. So let's run it and see. So now you can see that we have managed to apply the themes properly in our app. So typography means arranging a text to make it more readable and appealing. So to do that we need a custom fonts, our own fonts. So let's go and download it. So I found this site, fontsquirrel.com, which is a really good site for downloading fonts. So there are a lot of fonts here. You can choose whichever you want to use. I am going with the calligraphic or the calligraphity, this one, because I really like this one and it looks very attractive. So download the TTF version, and yeah. So I have already downloaded it. So I am just going to extract it here. And yes, you can see I already have it. So now we need to import this file into our studio. So let's do that. So to put it, we need a new resource folder where we can put the font file. So we create here Android resource directory, and let's call it font, and let's select the resource type to font, and we are good. Let's call it fonts actually. And it did not appear here. Maybe it's taking some time. No, I think I accidentally put it somewhere else, so I need to check it. Actually, it has been created. Let's call it font actually. I think let's delete it altogether and we will create a new one. So go to the resource and Android resource directory. Just call it font. Otherwise, it may not appear on the project hierarchy. Let's call it fun. Okay, now it's appeared. So now we need to get this file. So let's copy it and let's put inside our font folder. So calligraphy, and it's now we need to refactor it because the Android does not allow a resource file to be a resource file name to be start with capital letter. So we need to refactor it. So let's say calligraphy. Now we can start building our typography. So we need to go to this type.file. Now we need to create a variable for that font. So let's say private val, and here I can call it whatever I want. So I'm going to call it calligraphy, and then we just need to provide the font family. So font family, and inside this font family we can say font, and just we need to provide the resource for it. So r.font dot, and we need to actually import this r file. So it yeah, import it, and font dot calligraphy, and yeah, we are done for this variable defining. Now we need to create a style. So let's do that. So we can say where, and I'm going to say intro, no, intro typography. Here we need the typography, Android X dot compose dot material, and inside this we can say h1. So you can define here as many styles as you want. I am going to define only one style. So h1 equals, and I can say text style, yeah, and inside this text style I can say font family, and I can pass this variable that I just created. So calligraphy, then I can say font weight, and font weight dot, I'm going with the 500. You can go with 600, 700, as big as you want. And the last thing we need is font size. So I will say 16.sp, and then we need to go to this theme file, and we need to provide cast this typography into our material theme. So I will say typography, equals, I will say, what was the name, intro typography. So I will say intro typography, and our custom style is ready to apply in our app. So now we need to apply this typography. So let's go to our main activity, and here I want to apply this typography on this function greeting. So you can say here style, and here you can say material theme dot typography dot h1, because we only made one style and we named it h1. Where is it? Yeah, here. So we can use this h1, and this all style will be applied on this text. So let's run it and see. So you can see that the text style has applied, but because this row is quite packed up, it's difficult to read. So I'm going to just increase the zoom value, and you can see that we have successfully able to apply the typography or a custom style to our text. You can do the same with a button. So let's do that with the button and see if it's work on or not. So where is my button? Here is my button. Here I can say style, material theme dot typography dot h1, and let's run. So you can see it has applied to button as well as, and it's look really beautiful. So first we will go to the main activity, and we will create a new function for our image, so where we can place the image. So I will say add composable function, and let's say image, let's just say images. So we don't need to import this one because it's a function. And let's apply our modifier, initialize our modifier. So modifier, inside this we need a column. So column, and let's say modifier dot fill max size, and let's apply the alignment vertical and horizontal. So I put the comma but it did not take it. So vertical arrangement and arrangement dot center. I want the image to be in center so we can clearly see how it works and how the shapes works. So let's centralize it in horizontal alignment. So alignment dot center horizontally. Now we need to put our image here. So I will say image, and we need to select this one, painter, and delete this painter, and we will say painter resource, this one, second one, and then we need to pass the id for it. So before that we need a image. So I have downloaded a nice image, it's called the space image. So I'm going to use this image. So I am going to put this in our drawable file folder, sorry, and let's give it the resource id. So r dot drawable dot space image. For content description we can pass null, you can pass anything you want, and let's run it and see how it looks. So I'm going to press run. Oh, I do have to call this function image from our on create. So let's do that quickly. I'm going to get rid of this main screen, and I will say images, and which one I have to take, Yeah, this one. Now we have our image in the middle of the screen. So let's see how to manipulate it, how we can apply different shapes on it. So to apply shapes, we can use two classes, the rounded corner shape and the cut corner shape. So here in our shape file, we already have rounded corner shapes. So let's use it and see how it looks. So we need to go to our theme file, and here after typography we say shapes equals, and we need to pass the shapes that defined here, these shapes, and we have applied the shapes in our theme, custom theme. Now we need to apply in our image. So let's go to our image, and so you can see there are three kind of shapes here: rounded corner shape, small 4dp, medium which is also 4dp. We need to increase it, otherwise we won't be able to see any difference. So let's say 8dp, and yeah, let's go back to main activity, and after content description we can say modifier equals modifier dot clip. So we will say modifier dot clip, and inside the function clip we say shape equals, and then we need to apply the shape. So material theme dot shapes dot is, let's go with the small first. So now we have applied the small shape, so it will cut the image in a rounded corner. So let's run it and see. So you can see that at the corners it had applied the cutting, but it's because it's only 4dp, it's very difficult to see. But if I zoom in, you can see clearly that we have managed to apply the rounded corner on all the corners. So let's go for the medium one, so you can see it clearly, because the medium one is 24dp. So let's run it again, and I think I don't need to zoom it when I apply the medium. So see, on when I apply the medium, you can clearly see that it's cutting the corner. So that's it for the rounded corner. Now let's use the cut corner class, so we can see what is that and how it works. So let's go to our shape file, and here I will say I will create a new value for our cut corner shape. So I will say val cut corner. I will just name it cut corner, and here cut corner, and here I will say shapes. We need to select the second one, androidx.compose.material, and I can get rid of this because it has already been imported. And here I can say small, and here I will say cut corner shape. And in cut corner shape you can specify to cut all the corners, or you can specify a single corner. So if I want to cut the top start, I will say top start, and let's say 8.dp. And for the medium one, let's cut the right handed. So I will say cut corner shape, and I will say top end. Let's also give it 8.dp. And yeah, let's see how this one works. So I will go to theme. Now we need to apply the second shape. So I will say shape equals cut corner, and in main activity I have applied medium. So let's use the small one, and then let's see what happens. So you can see it has cut the corner, the top start corner. Now I can use the medium one to see if it cut this one. So let's run it. So now it has cut the end corner. So this is how you manipulate image in Jetpack Compose. So that's it for this lecture.